decided that the restoration is going to involve completely replacing the stock. The question is what wood to replace this with. We'll assume it's walnut and we'll go with a walnut stock. Now, sourcing walnut, this is American black walnut, and it would not be the correct wood to make this stock out of. It might make a nice stock, but it wouldn't be authentic to the materials that were available to whoever made this. This is available from my timber yard, Totten Timber, and it's quite expensive stuff to buy, especially if we were to buy it in a 4 centimeter thick piece, which is what we need. And whether we could get the depth on the boards, I don't know. But we won't use this. We need to find European walnut, Juglans regia, and I found a piece on eBay, and we'll have a look at that in just a moment. So this is the piece that's available on eBay. Here's the page. The person wanted £20 for it, and but was open to offers, so last night I put a bid of £10 in for it, and they've gotten back to me this morning. They're going to accept £15. So we're going to go with that. Well, the dimensions are right. The dimensions of the wood, it's 106 centimeters long, and our gun we measured 114 centimeters overall. That would mean we could use the wood and have an overhang of about 8 centimeters on the barrel. If you want to understand what we're going to do with the barrel, then have a look at this YouTube video, which is produced by Midway USA. One of the problems I've got is I need to be able to completely immerse this in various liquids. First of all, I need to do some electrolysis, and this is 80 centimeters long, so I need a trough that I can lay this in, which is 80 centimeters long. Here we are on the laptop. Photograph of the Jezile that I took. If we go on to eBay, here is the description of the wood. They say it's a well-seasoned walnut. They describe the wood as rustic and characterful. It means it could have knots and holes, shakes and splits, colour variation. It could have some spalting. And as whether we accept the offer, let's go for it. So, the order is placed. Let's see what comes through the post. By the miracle of the internet, and in the spirit of the post-fact era, which is making this whole process look much quicker online than it actually is, here is our piece of walnut. So let's unpack it and see what we can see. Walnut. We've got a bit of a problem with the coming to a sharp edge either side. It's not as square as I hoped it would be. We've got a deep gouge in here. That's a cause for concern. We'll have a look at that in a minute. When we look at it this side, we've got the natural colour of the wood. We compare it to the black walnut. I suppose we can now see why they call this black walnut, because it is a very dark wood compared to the European walnut. Our main concern, obviously, is to be able to cut the stock of the Josiah out of it. Here's the original, and when we look at it like this and add the barrel in, it looks pretty good. But that bit, which is broken from there, that can represent the end of the stock up here. The problem is, if we do the same thing on the other way round, there isn't enough wood along here for cutting the stock in. We're going to have to maneuver the barrel down slightly and cut it more at an angle through the wood, and that's where this gouge in here starts to become a problem. So we'll see about that. Transposing that to the other side, that means we'll be cutting it through at an angle like that. So we need to calculate our pathway through the wood. So that's not going to be straightforward.
American rifles were usually stocked with curly maple. A gunsmith preferred to allow the plank to dry 2 years before he used it.
First, the center line is scribed on the stock. Then the breech plug is inlet at the back of the stock. This keeps the barrel from turning as it is being inlet. After the rough outline of the barrel has been scribed, the channel is roughed out with round gouges. The plane cannot be used to cut the channel to the final dimension. All the sides have to be fit by hand. The bottom of the barrel is sooted over the candle. The soot leaves a dark mark on the high spots. These are then chiseled off and the barrel refit until it lays in tight. After the barrel is fit, the excess wood is sawed off the fore end. The ramrod is carried on the bottom of the stock. A channel for it is cut with gouges and a plane, then smoothed down with a round file. Making the stock, the three important things are getting the barrel inlet, the ramrod channel drilled, and the butt plate fitted. You can't do any stock shaping until all of these... before any of the fittings through the center part of the gun can be completed. The lock is inlet very carefully so that as much wood as possible is left for strength. Only enough wood is removed to allow the parts to work. The gun is weakest at this point, so any wood left makes the area stronger.
far. We've had to lower ourselves to submitting to the B&Q vernacular. Not just B&Q, but B&Q Extra. Anyway, let's go on in and see what bits we can find. So here we are at B&Q. Listen to some troughs here. Seems to be a good length. Here we have the steel. We've got 8mm. That's our ramrod. Okay, so we got out of there. We're 32 quid worse off, but most of the stuff that we bought is reusable stuff, equipment for the future. So let's get this show on the road and get going home. We've been out shopping and got a few items, and one of the items we've got is the ramrod here. There's plenty of length on that. My gouge is a 7mm gouge, and the bar is supposed to be 8mm, so then a bit of fiddling around to get the right. The other thing I've been able to get is a plastic trough, one that the barrel will sit in, and I'm going to take that outside shortly, and I'm going to put that in for some electrolysis, and I'll let that stew for a few hours. Here we have the trough, the new trough. Barrel fits in. Sodium carbonate dissolved. Got 12 volt wired up, and the barrel is in there. And there are bubbles well and truly rising. So we'll come back in a couple of hours and see what's happening with this. One of the things that's really interesting that's happening is there's silver inlay on this, which was not apparent originally, and it's now revealing some quite detailed decoration on there, which looks really nice. And I'm hoping continued electrolysis won't damage the silver inlay, so I'm going to take a risk on keeping on going with this. What I need to do every so often is just brush it down to remove the corrosion, which is now quite black. And I assume if we physically remove it and then put it back into the electrolysis bath, it'll speed up the process. I'm using a brass brush rather than a steel one, and I need to be very careful about brushing around the silver, because I imagine the brass is harder than the silver and it might braid it away. So let's pop it back in the bath. Keep getting a nice scum rising from this, but It's taken quite a while to get some of this corrosion off at the upper end of the barrel. Okay, we need to plot the depths on here, use calipers and plot on here and write the thicknesses as they go through, try and work out the pathway through this. Okay, it's looking as if we've tracked a path through this piece of wood and removing the stock. We've got the depth that we need here. We need 40 across here, we've got 47. It's starting to narrow at this point. This goes down to 38. We need it at 39 around here, so this is fine. We've got 1 or 2 mil we can play with. We need it at 32.5 here, and we'll notice that we've got it marked at 34 and 33 at this point. 33, and the calipers have given us the measurements going down, and by the time we reach this end for reproducing this section here, we need 26.5. We've got 28, 29, 30, 33, 32, 32.5, and so on and so forth. So it seems as if we've got the depth. The worst hole, the depth of the hole on the other side is here, although the gouge is around here, so the stock cut out of this bit will miss that gouge and have just the right depth. The wood's actually thicker along here, but if we look the way the calipers have done it, we've got a contour line running along here. It's very uneven. We can't get the barrel in this side, so we'll go up here. So there is our stock, and moving it down a little bit, we'll see here that we've pushed it further back, and what we'll have is some nice spare pieces of wood we can cut out of here or out of here, and we'll be able to cut a piece to go across here to match this cross piece. So that's what we'll do. So that's where we're at. We've worked out where to cut the stock. So the barrel's still doing in the electrolysis. Just a few additional thoughts. We've pretty much got our parts here. The lock plate, I'm not sure how much further I'll go with derusting that. We've only got 2 barrel bands, and so I've looked in my scrap box and found items like this from which I can fabricate a few more barrel bands or cannibalize that, or items like this. So there's that's possibly a little too big. We'll see. But I've got plenty of things for making some barrel bands out of. Just something else to think about material-wise. It's making sure we've got all the chemicals we need. So, for instance, here we have our ferric chloride, and this is just 1 litre I bought online. It's not as nasty as a lot of caustic substances you could use, and needs to be diluted down to about 15% according to the video. So we've got that. We've got, I've used this stuff before, liquid gun blue. This is for cold blowing. A lot of people don't recommend this, but it is certainly part of the blowing process. This one by Birchwood Casey is one of the most readily available in the UK. There are other makes that will be using that. We need degreaser. For a final finish, I'm not going to varnish it, I'll oil it. I've got Hops gun oil, lubricating oil here, but that does a really nice protective finish on barrels. And also there's the issue of antiquing the stock. I don't want to leave it in the bare wood. So, and I've done antiquing processes on wood, and part of that will involve this stuff called crackly medium, which gives a crackle effect if we use it with some water-based varnish for the finish. We'll be able to get an antique finish with that, so this is pretty cool stuff. So those are some of the chemicals we'll be using.